We are following this breaking news in the Fox 11 newsroom. This is a live picture from Skyfox of this massive commercial fire that is underway in Boyle Heights. You can see just an incredible plume of black smoke. It's just getting bigger and bigger. LAFD is on scene. Here's what we can tell you. And by the way, this is the voice of Marla Tejas here at Fox 11. Now that we have that wide shot, I mean, take a look. This is enveloping greater part of Los Angeles, the city of about 4 million people. So obviously this has an incredible impact to people in the city of LA right now. Again, this is in Boyle Heights. This was called into LAFD at 2:35, so it has been underway, this firefight, for 61 minutes. It's 3:36 right now. So they got word of this structure fire at a commercial building in Boyle Heights at 2:35. LAFD says that there were just reports of a single-story commercial building with fire showing from the roof, and now, an hour later, you see the ladder trucks out there with the steady stream of water that's being sprayed on. It looks like this roof could be solar panels. That was some of the chatter in the newsroom as we were getting a look at these live pictures. We're working to get the name of the company. In terms of location, this is 1400 South Los Palos Street in Boyle Heights, so adjacent to downtown Los Angeles. We're working to get some more details, but we can also tell you that there is a shelter in place for, let me get you the latest information. This is all LAFD is a wonderful resource when a fire breaks out on their socials, because they do great work, quick work of putting out as much information as they can as they get it. So just a couple of minutes ago, their latest update on their socials is a shelter-in-place order has been issued for areas east of Genesis. So obviously this looks to be an industrial portion of Boyle Heights, and those areas where the smoke is coming from, there's a shelter in place. Obviously, if you're nearby, you can see this out your window. Obviously, keep your windows closed. This is going to do a number on air quality with all of this black smoke. What an image that is from the city of Los Angeles, the neighborhood of Boyle Heights. This reminds me of what we just covered in the Bay Area last week, the breaking news that we had for you from there, east of San Francisco, about 60 miles, that Tracy, there was a medical supplies building, looked very similar to this. That caught fire last week, and that firefight lasted for hours, if not days. It produced live pictures just like this. So it's unclear of what started it. It's unclear employees inside, if everyone is accounted for. We're working to get that most crucial information right now, but LAFD is certainly on this. And we are working to get a spokesperson on the line with me so that we can get you caught up to speed. But in the meantime, we do have a crew, our own crew, on their way. That would be our reporter, Matthew Seedorf. He is on his way with his photographer to be able to bring you a ground picture from down below. I can only imagine how hectic it is as we're just sort of panning over and you're seeing traffic flowing by underneath that black smoke. People no doubt going, what is happening? And it looks like they're also spraying adjacent lots, and or it looks like that black smoke is just literally, the flames are racing through the better part of this building. Now we can see the signage, and this makes sense because if you Google 1400 Los Palos Street, it comes up that name, Lineage. So let me click on this link, and this is, I want to find out what they do. We're here to help feed the world. That's the first thing when you open up, when you click on About Us. So obviously they deal with food distribution. Let me see. They have a global warehouse, and it looks to be this as well. I don't want to give misinformation, but this is all happening in real time. We're zooming in. We're seeing the trucks down below, the sign, Lineage, and they're located in several parts of the globe, in fact. So I'm going to Google and type in the LA area. They say that this is a port location. And let's see, cold chain experts. So let me just look into this. I'm very curious as to what they store there, as I'm sure you are as well. So while I dig into this, these are just incredible pictures from our chopper. And those flames just continue to tear through the roof of Lineage here in Boyle Heights. I'm just going to let this picture speak for itself while I read and learn a little bit more about what this company does. So I'm still here. I'm still news gathering from the studio. Our crew is on it. And as soon as I get just a little bit more information, you're going to hear me join the stream. I'm not going anywhere. So continue to take a look. Again, if you're just hopping on the stream and you're wondering what this is a commercial building fire in Boyle Heights. And this is the result. It started more than an hour ago, and just that black smoke that has just overcome the city of LA is just, it looks like something out of a movie. So here it is, and this is very much real, and the firefight is happening down below. LAFD has many, many engines out there, including a couple of ladder trucks that we've been able to see. So I'm gonna quiet down just for a second while I work to get a little bit more information. Okay, this is what I've gleaned in those few seconds that I was quiet. They say that they are a temperature controlled warehouse and they offer global integrated solutions for an all-in-one approach to handling your products across the food supply chain by combining cold storage and transportation. And this appears to be a cold storage facility. We can streamline your supply chain across storage, consolidation, brokerage, and more. So it gives you a little bit of background into what Lineage does, cold storage facility, and you're seeing now a close-up of that ladder truck and the firefight there. But in terms of exactly what it is, what's burning and the fuels inside, I mean, clearly it's food because that's what they deal with, but it does appear that that's solar panel on the roof. Which would make sense. So again, this is just from my own eyes. And if you're on the stream with us and you have any information, please reach out to us with some more information and we'll get that, try to get it confirmed, right? Because what we're doing right now is just live coverage. This is what we do for the breaking news cycle is we do our part to get as much information gathered in a timely fashion. It's better to be right than it is to be first. And so just trying to get the facts straight here. And we can tell you, according to LAFD, that there is a shelter in place order because of this fire. And again, I can't reiterate it enough. If you are nearby in downtown Los Angeles or in any part of LA, really, you're going to see this, you're going to smell it. And it's not good to inhale whatever it is that's burning, but it is producing just this ominous black smoke, billowing black smoke. So LAFD is out there. Their last update was just 11 minutes ago. Structure fire on South Los Palos Street. This is Lineage. That's the name of the company that caught fire. I'll remind you that this started, they got their first call at 2:35, and they arrived on scene to find the flames shooting through. It looks to be a solar panel roof. And I believe our friends from the Bay Area are now joining our coverage. And if you are from the Bay Area, I was likening this to the firefight that was underway last week in the city of Tracy, which is just about 60 miles east of San Francisco, and a medical supplies warehouse caught fire there and produced similar live pictures. And it's a scary sight to see, and especially as that smoke just sort of ends up laying over a massive portion of Los Angeles. We know that the city of LA is massive in that there are 4 million residents in the city proper. County-wise, 10 million people, but this is going to catch a whole lot of eyeballs, a whole lot of attention, whether you're driving home, whether if you're in doing business, you live in the city of Los Angeles, you are going to see this, probably smell it as well. Skyfox up above, we've seen a lot of that water being thrown at it from ladders of LAFD. And there are plenty of zones nearby that are being asked to shelter in place. And, you know, these zones are listed A, B, C, D, E, and many numbers that follow the alphabet, really. And so there's just too many to rattle off. Obviously, a great resource are the socials of LAFD. So their last update officially was just about 11 minutes ago, and we're hoping to get a spokesperson on the line so that we can learn a little bit more about the firefight, what they're up against, because this is going to take a long time. Absolutely. And I know that the Tracy incident took several hours, if not days, to completely put out those flames, and this has been underway since 2:35, so almost 1 hour and 15 minutes. There is, as mentioned, there is that shelter-in-place order, but what we really want to find out is, did everyone make it out okay? Obviously, we're curious how this started. LAFD is saying as of now, no injuries reported. It was a miracle to think that in the Tracy incident that there were no injuries and all employees were accounted for, given those live given the live pictures. Firefighters, apparently there were some firefighters that were getting stationed on the roof, but now they are repositioning themselves. So we're just hearing that no injuries so far, which is great news. Let's keep it that way. Let's just hope that everyone inside Lineage, unclear how many employees there are, but they deal with shipping and food supply, cold storage. Cold Chain Solutions is one of their headlines on their website. Again, the company name is Lineage, and here's a bigger picture, a bigger live look, and you can just see the smoke making its way across the city as this fire burns, and burns quickly and fiercely. At least, I mean, I'm not even going to begin to estimate how many engines are on scene. I don't have that information. LAFD, let's see if they have put that out. Let me just quiet down while I refresh. Yeah, no new information. But again, this is 1400 South Palo Street. Firefighters transitioning to defensive mode. And yes, all units were called off the roof and out of the interior. And they do have a LAFD spokesperson on the scene right now. So our crew will hopefully meet up with that spokesperson, and it'd be great to be able to get that spokesperson to join us here on the stream so that we can get the latest information. I'm curious, obviously the adjacent businesses, they're greatly impacted. No doubt that they're part of that shelter-in-place order. And it looks like Armageddon, really. I mean, as it's pure black underneath. If you're caught in that smoke, there's a 710 and the 60 east. I've mentioned, obviously, you want to keep your windows closed, but officials are saying don't run your AC or your heater. I mean, it's a beautiful day out today. Well, it was anyway, but this is going to take a hit on the air quality. Air quality is going to take a hit, I should say. And traffic, no doubt, on the 60 is going to be slowed. We know how traffic is anyway, but as those passerbys get a good look at this and they slow down, that's going to have an impact on the drive home as well. So that smoke is lingering far and wide and just hovering over so many neighborhoods down below. So our extreme nav kind of helps paint the picture there of the 710 and the 60. And we're zooming in here just so you see how thick that smoke is. So yes, please keep your windows closed. Don't run your AC, don't run the heater. All words of advice because this clearly the smoke is toxic. Unclear exactly the fuels that are inside, but again, this is a cold storage facility for a shipping company and a food supply company that has locations globally, by the way. And here is a pretty incredible image as well. So it looks like downtown would be north there of the, and if I'm not getting my directions right, forgive me, but off in the distance anyway. So Boyle Heights is a mix of residential and industrial neighborhoods, and this is one of those industrial areas that is greatly impacted today, and the impact is being felt far and wide because that smoke is far and wide, as I have been reporting. So LAFD, the lead agency, of course, and they're working to get a handle on this, but this is one of those firefights that is going to take a very long time. I mentioned that we have a ground crew on the way, Matthew Seedorf, but we're actually going to send more resources just because the impact will be, number one, the firefight, and then to the local neighborhoods, communities. There's a lot to news gather. So 3 crews are going to be dedicated to our coverage here at Fox 11, which makes complete sense given the impact that this is having on the city of Los Angeles. As Wednesday afternoon, our focus, a lot of it anyway, has been on other news of the day, including World Cup. I mean, that's proudly on our air. But now, of course, our attention is being turned to this commercial building fire in Boyle Heights. 3 of our crews are on the way. And as mentioned, this is a cold storage facility. The company is known as Lineage. And it looks to be that the roof is made up of solar panels, and we've seen that steady stream from both ends of the building, from the ladders there. You wonder how much good it's doing. Of course, it's doing good, but I mean, just that small stream of water, given what we're seeing there, it looks like it's a David and Goliath sort of a thing. That's why this firefight is going to take a long, long, long time. But those flames just eating through the roof, and on the other side, they've got it basically surrounded. So that's sort of the strategy. You see the trucks, the shipping trucks down below. They call this a port location. This is all information that I've gathered from the website Lineage, by the way. Onelineage.com if you want to look it up for yourself. That is the website. It says, we deliver resilient, smart, and scalable solutions to strengthen your food supply chain. And inside, you're seeing some images of the warehouse. And again, they have more than one location. So I'm not sure if this is the Boyle Heights warehouse, but nonetheless, it looks to be a whole lot of cardboard boxes and dollies and pallets and that sort of a thing inside. Those are pictures I'm looking at in the on the website. And then cold storage, obviously you think of refrigeration. So you're seeing there some of those firefighters, I imagine those are them on the roof. They were saying that they had repositioned themselves. This is sort of on the first tier of the roof for Lineage. So we'll see what happens there and if that ladder actually is equipped with water. But they ultimately have this surrounded. And the traffic off in the distance, that's the 60. And it's moving right now, but certainly it's going to be slowed because of the firefight itself. So this is breaking news that we're following here on the Fox Local stream. It's 3:55 in Los Angeles, and you may be joining us from the Bay Area, where you may think, well, this is something that we dealt with last week, and that was that issue, that firefight in Tracy, just east of San Francisco, where a medical supplies company, if memory serves me correctly, Medline, I believe was the name of that company, where that warehouse was completely destroyed, and that firefight lasted a very long time. The great news there, which is what we're hearing here as well, is no injuries to report. Employees got out safely. No word yet on how many were actually employees or in Lineage. We're hearing that so far no injuries to report. Let's hope it stays that way. That would mean that everyone inside was able to evacuate safely. We pray that that is the case. And now a zoomed in shot, that's scary. The firefighters, this is what they do. This is what they sign up to do. They are there on top of that, on the very edge of the roof. That one firefighter, obviously this is part of the plan, and he doesn't seem to be equipped with any firefighting equipment per se, but maybe he's scouting it out. Okay, great. I was just quieting so that I could get some new information from my executive producer, Joya. She just tells me that at 4 o'clock, we're going to have LAFD spokesperson Jennifer Middleton hop on the line, and so that she can give us some new information. So we're less than 3 minutes out until that. It's 3:57. So, and then at 4 o'clock, our stream is going to actually go onto broadcast television as well, because this is breaking news that needs to be broadcast as well as on the Fox local stream. So we're just a couple of minutes away, probably about 2.5 minutes, less than that, away until we go to Fox 11 and as well as here on the Fox local stream. And we'll be able to get some new information from Jennifer Middleton with LAFD. So 710, the 5, and then the 60 is there as well. These are all nearby roadways. People driving home or driving somewhere anyway on this Wednesday afternoon, and they're seeing this black smoke, no doubt. They're probably, hopefully they're not Googling and searching and driving at the same time, but no doubt they're curious as to what they are seeing. And this is Lineage, that's the name of the company there in Boyle Heights, which is adjacent to downtown Los Angeles. It has caught fire. This started at 2:35 this afternoon. That's at least when LAFD got the first call. So far, no reports of injuries. This is a cold storage facility. The website tells you that. That website, in case you want to do your own homework, that's onelineage.com. And a commercial building fire, and that firefight is underway from LAFD. We have 3 crews headed to this scene, 3 crews. So as soon as we establish connection with a crew, we will bring you that live report from the ground. I can only imagine, because we cannot hear anything from Skyfox, what that firefight sounds like on the ground, and also what it smells like. There is a shelter in place, and there is a word to the wise to keep those doors and windows closed if you're in the area, in addition to the shelter in place. And do not run your AC and do not run that heater. Obviously, air quality is going to be an issue, and it's not going to be good because you're seeing all of this smoke. So I'm going to quiet down for about 15 seconds as we take you to the top of the hour. We're not the only helicopter. You may have seen that helicopter there in the top right-hand corner of your screen. We're going to roll the open, as we say in TV, in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We are following breaking news. It is 4 o'clock. This is Marla Tejas in the Fox 11 studio covering for you this commercial building fire that has broken out in Boyle Heights. This is in Los Angeles, the city of Los Angeles, adjacent to downtown Los Angeles. This is a massive firefight at this massive warehouse that is there in Boyle Heights on South Palos Street. The company is called Lineage, and on the line with me now is Jennifer Middleton with LAFD. Jennifer, what can you tell us about this firefight?
Hello. This fire broke out around 2:35 this afternoon. Flames were spotted from the roof of a cold storage facility. It has been determined that the solar panels on the roof are on fire, and we are actively engaging in trying to stop the spread of this fire. It's challenging due to the location. Also for us to get our hose lines in place is challenging. You can see we have ladder pipes up. You can see we have someone trying to extend a hand line right now. But we have requested air operations come to do some water drops.
That's what it's missing, air water drops. How soon can we expect that?
They are en route right now, and they are coordinating with the IC because for them to do the water drops, we need to coordinate and make sure that all of the personnel and everyone on the ground is in a safe location.
Absolutely. Okay, well, that's great news to hear that water drops will be happening relatively soon, so we look forward to seeing that. You mentioned that this is the solar panel roof here. So is it just the roof on fire, the solar panels themselves, or are the flames also inside burning in the warehouse?
When we initially made entry, or when we arrived on scene, it was determined that it was just the solar panel. Considering how the fire has spread, I cannot confirm whether or not there is any fire or damage inside of the structure at this point. It was confirmed that all employees have evacuated the building.
Do we know how many?
I do not have that count. No, I do not.
Okay, so at this point, we can report that all employees safely evacuated. This started at 2:35, and so far, no injuries.
Correct. I have not been notified of any injuries at this point.
Okay, so we see the ladders. You pointed those out. LAFD is on this. What do you want people in the area to know? Because there is a shelter in place. What does that mean?
So what that means is anybody, you can see the wind is blowing east, blowing the smoke to the east of this fire. So anybody east of this fire, we are suggesting to stay in your homes, close your windows, turn off your air conditioning, anything that could bring that smoke into your home. And I'm going to give you, there's a website called protect.genesis.com, and you can go onto that website so you can see the zones that we are issuing the shelter-in-place orders in. So people can always refer to that because we are updating that as the shelter-in-place orders. If they expand, you will see the zones expand on that website.
Okay, good information there. Thank you, Jennifer, for that. So when you talk about the firefight and putting this to an end, how does the firefight with the solar panels make this even more challenging? What does that look like?
Well, considering it's also a cold storage facility, we're dealing with refrigerant, we're dealing with ammonia. The solar panels, if they haven't been properly de-energized, that can be an issue as well. So, you know, there's just a host of different types of products burning right now that can create, you know, pretty toxic smoke. So that's why we're just creating the shelter in place.
Absolutely. You know, this is not just an ordinary structure fire, given the elements you just spoke of. We covered something similar up in the Bay Area, that medical supply company that went up in flames east of San Francisco just last week, and it produced similar images. Do crews learn from each other when they go through a firefight like that?
We try to pay attention to as many different types of fires throughout all the regions. Definitely there is information that is exchanged, and as materials change and as tactics change, we definitely get training on it. But considering that these fires are kind of close together, I don't know if any specific information has been
shared.
Any specific information has been shared yet.
Yeah, this is absolutely, this is unnerving to watch here. So what we're seeing, can you see our picture right now?
I'm watching right now. Yes.
Okay, so can you tell us what's happening? Because these firefighters look like they're getting awfully close to these flames. And what are they doing? Is this a hose that they're trying to get into place?
Yes, they're trying to extend hose lines. And optically, there may be more space between the fire and the firefighter on the edge of that parapet right now. But they're definitely feeling that heat, and they're trying to quickly get hose lines in place so we stop the spread of this fire.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, they're heroes. We say that all the time, and this is what they sign up to do. This is what they're trained to do, and they're doing it. And so it looks like he's gotten to the end here, where they can, I suppose, maybe he's signaling to go ahead and turn the water on.
Yes, yeah, he's signaling for water right now.
And then what does this look
Because,
like? Go ahead.
Go ahead. It just looks like, so it looks like they're trying to get hose lines around this so they can surround this fire. I'm not sure what type of appliance they have on the end of the hose line. I don't know if it's a nozzle or a monitor, some sort of appliance that they're going to use to apply water.
Okay, and then we're just hearing from our own crew that the fire ships, they just left Van Nuys, so they're probably about 10 minutes out. So even with these firefighters on the roof here, are they able to do water drops, or does everyone need to get down from the roof once those water drops are imminent?
I am waiting to hear what the tactics are going to be. More than likely, they will have to evacuate the roof. So, you can see that the firefighters on the parapet do have water flowing now.
Yep.
And you can see that we have positioned ourselves on the structure adjacent to that for structure protection in case there's any sort of extension. You can see we have the ladder pipes up on the far end of the building, on the opposite side of where it's burning, just to cool it, because we're not sure if there's a wind shift, it could push in any direction on that roof.
Well, let me just say this. This is a pretty wide shot here, and this shot earlier just enough to, give you pause, because it was so powerful and so scary to see just that thick black smoke that literally enveloped the greater part of the city of Los Angeles, which is home to 4 million residents. And all of that smoke literally was hovering over just a huge portion. People, trying to go about their business, whether they're driving nearby on the 60 or the 710. Obviously, this was within their purview. Everyone nearby would be able to see this or smell it. It looks like when we took that wider shot, Jennifer, this is what I'm getting at, that they are making progress, because it didn't look as ominous as it did, say, 20 minutes ago.
I agree. I agree. Yeah, the smoke has definitely changed conditions, which is what we're looking for. We read the smoke to tell how effective we're being, what's burning, the color of the smoke. So it does not look as ominous, but it is still burning at a pretty heavy rate. So that is a little concerning.
Explain to the viewer right now, when you see the black smoke versus the white smoke.
So the white smoke is when you're getting water on a fire. You're going to start to see the smoke kind of change color from that heavy black, which are a lot of heavy contaminants, a lot of material burning. When it starts to get cooled and when the fire starts to kind of lay down more, you're going to see that white smoke. So you're seeing it's effective where they have placed those firefighters on that parapet. They are able to, so you can see they're able to hold that fire back from approaching them any further. So the decision to put the firefighters on the parapet and apply water from that direction does look like it's quite effective. Right now you can see the ladder pipes that are up to keep the fire from pushing towards that end of the building. So what we're really trying to do is cut the fire off. We don't want it to extend any further to that side of the building or to any adjacent building.
Oh, well, that was going to be my follow-up. Are you concerned that those flames could jump?
We're always concerned about exposures. We're always considering that, so we will always take note of where the fire's burning, the wind conditions, the different types of structures that are adjacent to it. And yes, we're always considering the fact that it could spread to different buildings. So that's why we're placing folks, firefighters on the buildings surrounding that area, and keep them up there with hose lines and ready to go in case there's any sort of spotting of that fire to any other structures.
Okay, so we're just getting our first look of a live picture from the ground here. This is courtesy of our photographer, Olin Martinez, who has made his way to Boyle Heights to bring you these live pictures. That is the bigger picture here. You're seeing people in the neighborhood obviously come out, probably not advised. You could speak to that, Jennifer, but just to get a look at what has become a spectacle on this Wednesday afternoon as that firefight is underway. So if you are in the neighborhood and you see the yellow tape up, obviously media crews are going to arrive. We're seeing another ladder truck arrive live here on Fox 11 right now. But for those in the neighborhood, what's your message to them?
Those in the neighborhood, be very aware that the winds could shift and that smoke could impact you at any point. We do have the shelter-in-place order for that one LFD zone 1279. Again, it's always good to go to protect.genesis, GENASYS.com, to make sure that you are not in a zone that is going to be affected. But we are ready to create more shelter-in-place orders and zones for anybody that we may feel may be in the path of this smoke.
Okay, yeah, we're seeing more emergency crews arrive. As we wait for the first fire ships to arrive to do some of those water drops, can you speak to how many resources are being thrown at this?
We have LA City resources, we have some LA County resources, we have mutual aid responding as well. As far as LAFD resources, we have, I don't have an exact number, but I'm going to say at least over 100, 120 firefighters on scene right now.
Over 100 or 120 firefighters. LA County Fire also helping out in the firefight. When you say this is a mutual aid, is it simply because just more than LA City, or are there other crews involved?
So this is mutual aid with LA County. So this district or this zone borders LA County. So
right.
If this were to move any further east, it's going to go into LA County's jurisdiction.
So
especially because it's sort of it's a border call, we help each other with these incidents.
Okay, so I'm just hearing that there is an order to evacuate the roof right now because the call is to use aircraft. So that seems like that is something that would be happening if aircraft is imminent.
Yes, I can see we have, I'm not sure which helicopter is en route right now, but I see one coming in right now.
Okay,
so they're calling
great.
everybody off the roof out of safety. Yes.
And
this is another reason why I would caution anyone being outside right now for the smoke, but also due to sort of any sort of water drops. I do not suggest anybody stand outside to watch this event unfolding.
Yeah, you don't want to get caught up in the firefight at all. An unwanted shower for sure. Let me ask you this while we wait for that helicopter to drop some water. How many gallons per water drop, and how many aircraft do you have up? Jennifer, did we lose you? Yeah, it sounds like there's the dial tone. We certainly lost her. Well, look at that, just in the nick of time. There is that chopper. I was hoping to get some information on how many gallons of water it holds, but no doubt that this is going to be a huge help when you get the aerial assaults as part of the equation. That can speed things up in the firefight exponentially, compound it in a way that, that's exactly what this needs. When you're up against the fuel of those solar panels, which we've learned from Jennifer Middleton with LAFD, that is the initial thought of what caught fire. Initially, they thought that those flames were contained to just the roof. Apparently, they did make entry. She wasn't able to confirm if the warehouse inside is also engulfed in flames, but she did confirm for us that the employees inside Lineage, that's the name of the commercial building there, the company that takes up this warehouse in Boyle Heights, that all employees were able to make it out safely. So great news there. So far, no injuries to speak of to civilians or firefighters. Of course, we hope it stays that way. This is a firefight that has been underway since 2:35 this afternoon. It's now starting to slow down traffic a little bit more on the 60. That's the top of your screen. That's no surprise. And plus, it is 4:15 in the afternoon in Los Angeles. That means that traffic is going to get heavier and heavier as we get into those more quintessential commute hours this time of day. So we're waiting for the first water drop to happen. I was just in the middle of trying to get some more information as to how many are in the fleet of the, I'm getting a note here. That's why I'm stuttering and stopping my train of thought. So I was waiting to get how many helicopters, aircraft are going to be a part of the air assault. I didn't get that number, but I can tell you that a helicopter is able to drop 480 gallons of water in one drop. That information coming to me from Kevin Takumi. If you follow us here at Fox 11, you know that he has flown in Skyfox for many years, and he knows a whole lot about the firefighting apparatus and the protocol and processes. So Kevin, keep feeding us that information. That's very, very helpful. So we do know that 480 gallons of water will drop in one of those chopper drops. So we look forward to that happening. It's going to be any minute now, in fact, because they did successfully evacuate the roof. And that's what needed to happen before any of those. Oh, there it is. I see it coming into play. Let's watch it. Here we go. Well, I just quieted down.
Can you hear me? This is an ammonia leak now.
Okay, I'm going to check in with Olin. Oh, there we go. There we go. There's that water drop that we were waiting for, 480 gallons. That is a sight to see and a good one to see. Olin Martinez is the photojournalist behind the camera here. Olin, did I just hear you say there's a pneumonia leak?
Yes, Marla.
Or rather ammonia?
Actually, as I was approaching and making my way into the area, I was turned back by LAPD telling me that there's an ammonia leak, and that's why they were trying to get everybody back.
As
you can see, paramedics are staging directly below the plume, and they actually have the gurneys out already. Hey, buddy. Thank you. As you can see, they have a gurney out ready for anybody that might be injured. I believe that's Pete Demetrio that's walking up as well. And as you can see, this plume is traveling eastbound, but the wind can shift.
Right.
We've got a lot of people out here. LAPD is keeping a close watch on them to make sure they're out of the way. And I did see residents when I first approached with their pets rushing out of the area.
Okay, yeah, I think we saw some of those shots.
Washington.
Go ahead.
We are actually between Washington and the 5 freeway on Indiana Street.
Okay. So a couple of things. A potential ammonia leak. Now, we did hear Jennifer Middleton with LAFD mentioned ammonia. So that makes sense. And unfortunately, you know, if there is a leak, that can't be good. But I mean, given what we're seeing here unfold, it's not surprising. But let's hope that you know, people heed the call to stay inside and close those doors, close those windows, don't run the AC. Can you? Is this give us what you're experiencing, Olin, from your senses? I mean, do you? Oh, there's another water drop. Beautiful. Another water drop. Another 480 gallons. What does it smell like? Obviously, this is really bad for air quality.
Actually, I'm thank God to LAPD who told me don't go any further, because if not, I would have been at risk. With ammonia fumes can be deadly, as we all know. But there's plenty of residents still sheltering in their homes up and down this block. I'm basically shooting southbound, and as you can see, these are some of the residents that have been dispersed. There's commercial businesses here as well. Mm-hmm. I have colleagues of mine all around me, and they're all staying behind me. I just had one other photog come over and warn me, hey, careful, that's ammonia. So we're holding here about 2 to 3 block distance, just to be safe. Luckily, like I said, the wind is blowing southwest of me. I am on the north end of it.
Okay, and this may seem like an obvious question, but the ammonia leak would be coming from the warehouse itself, so it's not necessarily, it's still that couple blocks away from the residents that are near you and you right now, correct?
Correct. And yes, I would think that it's coming from those warehouses. You know what? I can actually see through the smoke down, there's a very large ladder that they have deployed up to that rooftop, and that's on the east side.
Yeah, I'm just
this
seeing,
warehouse.
I mean, you talk about the significance of an ammonia leak. It is a severe public health hazard. If you're near one, you're to evacuate immediately by moving crosswind or upwind to avoid the plume. Obviously, call 911. Ammonia is highly toxic and can cause acute respiratory distress, severe chemical burns to the eyes and throat, and it can even cause death. So it's a very serious leak and something that an ingredient that a chemical that Jennifer Middleton did name when she was talking about what would be on fire in addition to the solar panels inside. This is a cold storage facility. So you think about refrigeration and all that goes into that. That's what firefighters are up against. Olin, when you were arriving on scene, I mean, how does it look now versus when you were arriving on scene? Because we have seen some improvement.
Absolutely, Marla. When I was approaching eastbound and then southbound on Cesar Chavez. The plume literally looked like a brush fire plume. Obviously, we knew it was a warehouse fire, so I knew it was bad. And yes, it has turned a little bit gray, a little bit lighter gray, so it's starting to lose its density, I think is what they call it. But, it's still dark. Dark smoke is not good.
No.
You can tell.
Yeah, it's not good at all.
But I'll tell you, those water drops really do justice. It's amazing how much defensive power those water drops have.
480 gallons per drop, so that is obviously fantastic news. It should also be noted that a third helicopter is being ordered. So eventually there perhaps will be as many as 3 helicopters getting loaded and unloaded with all of that water, and that's what they need. Let's bring in my colleague Christine Devine into this breaking news conversation. Christine, you've watched this unfold, and earlier I'm sure you saw those panoramic images of that black smoke that was literally enveloping a greater portion of the city of Los Angeles.
Yeah, this is quite the fire that has developed here in the Boyle Heights area. You can see all those people outside, which you kind of wonder about the safety of people who are nearby as we see all of this smoke there in the air, very dark, black, thick smoke. This is a huge warehouse. You talked about it being a cold storage facility, and this fire has been described as rapidly spreading across solar paneling on the roof. And there's this ammonia leak inside that you talked about, Marla, as well, that has prompted the shelter-in-place orders for residents and businesses. So I'm not sure how widespread that shelter-in-place order is, and if people should be outside or near it, or even as far as they are right there. Los Angeles Fire Department is on this one. This did start in the afternoon, so it's been burning at least 2 hours, or coming up on about 2 hours here. Starting around 2:30 is when they first got that report. And it is a huge structure, 491,000 square feet. And crews appeared to be getting the upper hand on flames, it's been reported, but then they reported that ammonia leak in the building's interior, along with, according to CNS, several small explosions occurring, reinvigorating the flames. We're reporting that from CNS, and that sent that thick plume of black smoke into the air, visible for miles. Looks like our colleague there is talking to somebody, a resident. Let's listen in.
Olin, you can go ahead and bring up your microphone so we can talk to this young lady.
Okay, Marla, this resident right here is telling me that she and her 2 children were displaced. She only speaks Spanish, so I'll have to translate, but
Okay.
basically she was... ¿Hace cuánto la sacaron de su casa?
Aproximadamente hace una hora nos dijo el policía que evacuáramos.
An hour ago, she was evacuated by LAPD. Marla, did you have any questions specifically for her?
So she's a resident who lives nearby. Where was she told to go? What are her plans? Is there an
Sí,
evacuation
nos dijo
shelter?
hace una hora el policía que evacuáramos.
¿Le dijeron a dónde podía salirse?
Sí,
¿A dónde se podía ir? ¿A dónde le
No,
dijeron?
solamente nos dijéramos que saliéramos a un lugar seguro afuera.
No instructions other than step away and get out of the block area. She literally lives about 2 blocks from the structure. I'm looking at her home right now.
And does she know, was she familiar with this company and what it does?
¿Conoce este negocio, esta bodega?
Tengo un poco de conocimiento porque yo tengo como 4 años viviendo aquí, pero sé que es como una bodega de reciclaje.
She says it's a recyclables warehouse, but obviously that's in question. But she says she's lived here for 4 years. Nunca ha sucedido nada como esto antes.
Hace 2 años trató como de incendiarse, pero no se incendió por completo.
2 years ago, it caught fire, but it did not get this bad, Marla.
Oh, interesting. So she's saying that this is the
Y fueron por los
location.
paneles, nos dijeron la policía que explotaron unos paneles solares.
¿Esta vez?
Ajá.
She doesn't know the cause of the fire 2 years ago, but she was told that it was the solar panels exploded by LAPD.
Oh, wow. Okay, I'm going to look that up and just see if we can confirm that. That's now, just so you know, we have our live picture from Chopper of that other helicopter that is going to come in and do another water drop. So we look forward to seeing that. This would be, I think, the 3rd helicopter in the air. And again, 480 gallons of water able to drop on that firefight. Olin, thank you so much for that. Interesting perspective. We're still with you, Olin.
Yeah, I have a question, Marla, because I'm wondering how that evacuation, Olin, went down. If you could have her talk more about that. And also, I know it's a very residential neighborhood there, Boyle Heights, a lot of families, a lot of children, obviously out of school at this hour or on summer break. Talk about the evacuation and how she felt that went. Was she able to grab anything?
Platíquenos cómo vinieron a decirle que se salió. Cristina Devine quería preguntarle eso. ¿Hace cuánto? Dijo, ¿hace 1 hora?
Hace 1 hora, pues nosotros llegamos del trabajo y estábamos rumbo a la casa cuando miramos el humo, después llegaron los helicópteros, los bomberos y fueron a tocar policías. Entonces yo salí y le pregunté a un policía que si todo estaba bien, me dijo que no, que evacuáramos, que saliéramos afuera a un lugar seguro.
Basically, she said that an hour ago, police knocked on her door, told her to leave immediately, that the toxicity of the fumes was a danger, and she basically had just arrived from work. Sus hijos estaban ya de vacaciones de la escuela.
Sí,
Her children were already at home from school due to summer break. ¿Quién los estaba con ellos?
Mi hermana.
Her sister was watching her children, her 2 daughters, which I just showed you a few seconds ago, excuse me.
Well, I'm confirming from by reading more about this warehouse that she is correct that this facility did catch fire, the solar panel fire. That was in the summer, August of 2024. So that was almost 2 years ago. It's a 480,000 square foot facility. They also have a location, as mentioned earlier in my reporting and just perusing the website. They have locations across the United States and it seems the globe. And their warehouse in the state of Washington caught fire also in 2024. And that was a weeks-long firefight. So they are no stranger, apparently, to warehouse fires. So that's just another element to this breaking news story that you're watching unfold here on Fox 11. Christine?
Yeah, as we look at this fire burning so intensely there with that black smoke, this could be a very long day, very long night. We just had an evacuation situation in another part of Los Angeles where residents were displaced because of another matter at a company. And I don't know if our colleague Olin is still there on the ground, but I'm wondering about painting a picture of the area. You can look here and see, obviously that's a warehouse structure there, but residential right there. A lot of homes in that area as we watch a beautiful fire drop right there. Wondering how much progress they can make too with those water drops. But we can get back to Olin there on the ground. If you could paint a picture there of the neighborhood there.
Yeah, Christine, basically you've got single-family homes on both sides of the block. You do have some apartment buildings, but the majority are single-family homes. And I just noticed the wind shifted towards us. So that's the danger. And like I said, the crowd has grown. Let me show you how many more people have come over to take a look.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as you can see behind me, there is...
Yeah, the crowd is growing, and I'm jumping in quickly because we have someone on the line who can help shed some more light on this firefight. But yes, with LAFD on the line earlier with us, she was saying that you know, if you can stay inside, stay inside. But obviously, if you're evacuated and you don't have somewhere necessarily to go, then you can understand why people are outside, unfortunately. Mark Naveau is a FEMA coordinator and a former battalion chief. You were on the line with me on the Fox Local Stream on Monday, covering the Edwards Air Force Base first responder angle of that breaking news. Yeah. Mark, thanks for being with us here on Fox 11. What do you make of this firefight? This is what you did for a living. So when you're up against a solar panel warehouse firefight like this, what are you dealing with?
Yeah, nice to talk with you again. This is a challenging incident. It's not your typical warehouse structure fire, and here's why. Because it's a cold storage building, they use what's known as anhydrous ammonia. That's the main ingredient used to keep the facility cold and the contents. The trouble is that in this particular case, it's typically in a sealed container, so there's pipes running throughout the building that allows this building to drop its temperature, and the contents for whatever stores in there, they can drop it below a certain temperature, right? Cold storage. The trouble is that after a fire such as this, it looks like you've got a break in the line. So you've got anhydrous ammonia that's starting to leak outside of its container, and that is, in most cases, that's lighter than air. So what you're seeing, which is very, very unusual, is you're seeing a structure fire be using tactics that are typically used for wildland firefighting, i.e. helicopter drops. That's very unusual to do that. So that's the fire department has decided we're going to go offensive. Then they change to defense, pulling everybody out because they're concerned about the exposure to the personnel as well as the people in the neighborhood. All of that's why you've got people sheltered in place.
Yeah, that is something that I had not thought about when you mentioned that we don't really see airdrops on a typical warehouse fire. So now that all makes sense, Mark. Thank you for that. How dangerous is that leak? Because we're seeing a gurney. It looks like somebody is, yes, it does. Yeah, it's hard for me to get a good look. It does look like the gurney now has a patient on it. How serious is this leak?
Well, without actually knowing, we know there's concern enough that the fire department went from an offensive, meaning that they're going to go inside that building, use hose lines, and extinguish the fire. They've decided that's too dangerous, and we're going to go to a defensive operation, meaning we're going to use hose lines, water drops, water pipes up on, big ladder trucks, and pour water down from the outside into the interior of the building because we're concerned about putting people inside there. This anhydrous ammonia, which is the ingredient we talked about a few moments ago, it's very dangerous in terms of skin contact to skin, mucous membranes, meaning, mucus, mouth, eyes, those types of things. So it's a dangerous chemical, lighter than air. It can spread within that smoke, not to mention the danger that's already in that smoke from the materials that are burning and smoldering inside the building.
And let me correct myself, and Christine, if you have any questions, please jump in, but that wasn't a person on the gurney. It looks to be just equipment that was on the gurney, so I'm happy to be able to correct myself in that moment where it's not a person on the gurney. Go ahead, Christine. And by the way, we do have a statement from Mayor Bass, so let me just quickly read this. She says, as we see another hopeful water drop here, she writes, I urge everyone in the impacted area to get indoors immediately. Close windows and doors, turn off air conditioning, and avoid unnecessary travel to the area. Mayor Bass says she wants to thank the brave LAFD and public safety personnel who responded quickly and remain on scene.
Mark, hi. Christine Devine joining the coverage with you as well. As we watch a water drop here, your expertise is incredible. We appreciate it so much. So we watch a drop there. How effective are these drops, do you think? It's a big warehouse, it's a big building.
Well, it certainly is. As we talked about earlier, what are we, 500,000 square foot, 490,000 square feet? That's a very, very big building. So they can be effective. The challenge being when we start a firefight like that and you have collapse of walls and interior walls, and it starts to pancake, they fall on top of each other, or they do what's known as a lean-to, meaning one of the interior walls is leaning against another wall, and it creates a void where the fire can get into and smolder, which makes it a challenge to be able to put water on the interior of the fire, and you're trying to get that water into the deep-seated area, the active flame production. So there's challenge to it, but keep in mind, each one of those buckets is carrying, 500 gallons of water. That's a lot of water to be dumped with a lot of pressure, so it can penetrate into the interior of the building and the contents.
So as we look at all of these people who are outside, Mark, we just heard the notice there from Mayor Karen Bass to stay indoors if you're not displaced, if you're not evacuated, if you've not been asked to move out of your home, as we heard from one resident there, to stay indoors and close the windows. Do you have a concern for these people? I mean, it's hard to tell how far they are. Obviously, authorities, back people off, back the media off, so there's some distance there. But Mark, as you look at this, are you concerned for these people here?
Certainly. You want to heed the advice, number one, because of the smoke. If aside from the anhydrous ammonia that might be involved here, simply the smoke and the contents, the ingredients of that smoke. Remember, those things are smoldering plastics. We don't know what else is stored inside there, but just a normal, if you want to call a building fire normal. A normal building fire will have a tremendous amount of acid, plastics, toxic substances in that smoke. So just breathing, if you will, regular smoke is dangerous. But you add to this, this has become a hazardous materials incident / emergency along with a building fire. So you have two different sets of emergency that the firefighters are having to deal with. That's why they're trying to get people who are downwind to get inside, shut your doors and windows, turn off the air conditioning, don't let that smoke penetrate into the interior of your home. And they're also, I'm sure, concerned about farther downwind, not just those homes and businesses that are adjacent to the fire, but those buildings or people or freeways that are adjacent, maybe, and when I say adjacent, that could be half a mile to a mile downwind of some of this. So they have to be careful in that regard, too.
We're just seeing, I'm not sure what caused that explosion. I was just looking up some new information if it was just from spraying of the water or what happened there. But the white smoke is now billowing. It was a water drop. Okay. All right. That makes sense. Another water drop. We love that. Mark,
yeah.
Did you cover the Medline fire in the Bay Area, deep in the East Bay last week? How did these two compare, if at all? And when you see these pictures, I mean, how long can one of these firefights take to come to a conclusion?
Well, those are great questions. The Medline fire, that was a 1.5 million square feet, I think it was. So when we're talking about, and the fire chief in that fire even mentioned that the last fire of that size in the United States was in 1953, and it was General Motors auto manufacturing plant. So that's how long it had been since to have an industrial-sized warehouse fire that consumes so much square footage. Now, what makes that unusual is that, all these buildings have automatic fire sprinklers, and the fire sprinklers are 99% effective in homes and businesses. So when you have a fire and that sprinkler goes off, it keeps that fire relatively small if it, becomes a fire at all. When you see a building of this size that has so much of it consumed, there's something unusual. We saw with the Medline fire in Tracy was that they had problems with the hydrants, didn't have water in it. Some of the water had been shut off, I think, inside the building. So they were having challenge with the fire sprinklers along with the fire hydrants in the yards. So unusual that you have a building of this size involved with so much fire. Typically, they're held to a smaller size because of the automatic sprinklers.
I'm just thinking about how big this building is, how thick and dark that smoke is. You talked about the interior of the structure and walls collapsing, perhaps sprinklers inside working. I believe firefighters were able to get inside at some point and they were pulled out. So I can't imagine what's happening inside that building. Now keep in mind this happened around 2:30 in the afternoon. A full workday, I'm sure, at that big building there. You see there are semi-trucks there, look like they're loading trucks as well. Mark, I'm wondering, because we have people who've been evacuated already from their homes, how long a night this might be or days to come?
This is going to be quite some time. If it were, quote, a normal fire, it's going to be days to be able to make sure that the fire is extinguished, it's safe, and the surrounding area is safe. But you add to it that we've got, some chemicals, some toxic chemicals involved. We're seeing the unusual firefight operation of water drops taking place. There's going to be some questions about how this started, how it grew. But to your point, in terms of time, the people who are living adjacent to that, once that smoke dissipates, and it's going to be hours, and there isn't a potential for some of that toxic smoke to be able to get into their homes, I'm sure the officials will allow them to get back in there. But that's going to be some time before that happens. And they're going to, if they aren't already doing it, which I'm pretty sure they are, they're air monitoring the area surrounding that fire to see what type of readings they're getting in terms of toxicity of smoke.
Mark, could you hold on the line for us? We want to get to the ground, and our photojournalist Olin Martinez has a local resident, it appears, who is involved in this firefight, maybe evacuated. Olin, can you give us the update?
Yes, we're talking to Michelle. She basically has two properties here. She heard about the fire and immediately came out to make sure her residents were okay. And do you have any questions for her? Basically, I asked her, when did you hear about the fire?
I heard about it on the news, and then also I got a notification on my watch and my phone.
You immediately came over here?
Yes, I immediately came over here. And then actually they called, the LAFD called and left a message about evacuations and stuff like that.
Have you talked to your tenants? Are they okay?
One just arrived because she has a dog.
Patty?
Here. Yes, Patty. She just got here.
Okay. And luckily your structures are fine. Is it an apartment building or is it a single family home?
It's a triplex and then a commercial building. So that's why I was really nervous. Yeah.
Did you have to come from work basically?
Yes.
Make your way?
I left immediately, and that was my main concern with my tenants and the commercial building, that everything was okay.
Now you noticed that the wind shifted about 5-10 minutes ago, and immediately we started getting the fumes over here.
Yes.
What was your reaction?
I was just like, not angry, but I was like thinking about all these elderly people that are out here, and they're displaced from their homes, and it's hot, and health concerns,
Now it does seem to be dissipating somewhat because of these water drops. Thank God. But what do you describe to us what you first saw when you arrived, please?
I was in shock. I was like, oh my God, the smoke, you couldn't breathe, the traffic. I was scared it was going to spread to the houses. So, yeah, they wouldn't let me through, even though I told them that I have properties here. So, but I understand safety reasons. They couldn't have chaos going on here.
Marla, do you have any questions? Christine?
Yeah, I'm curious, given her being a landlord in the area, is she aware of the history of this building in terms of this isn't the first firefight that firefighters have been involved with here at Lineage?
Are you aware of the history with the fire 2 years ago with this company Lineage?
No, I am not. No, I am not.
Supposedly they had a fire 2 years ago. It didn't start completely. It didn't go off as bad as now, but they did have a structure. Commercial fire here.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, I was not aware of that.
And in fact,
but now my major concern is
we have
who's
some
gonna
video
clean
to
this
show.
up?
And in fact, Marla says?
We have some video of
Repeat,
that
Marla?
fire. We're getting it queued up. It turns out we do have video of that fire that we covered almost 2 years ago. That was in August of 2024. So she's surprised to hear about that.
Yes, very surprised. Actually, we were about to show video of that fire 2 years ago. We actually have some.
Okay.
So that fire, we're about to show our viewers, that fire occurred. You're concerned about these chemicals for
Yes.
your tenants.
Yes.
Tell me about your concern.
About the neighborhood. Who's going to clean it up? These ash, everything that's landing, that's got chemicals in it, it's landing in the homes. It's going inside windows. And people did have the windows open, and they didn't get to shut it at time. What if they're not at home? I want to know who's going to clean it up.
Now you could obviously feel the wind changing towards us again.
Right.
You immediately get the fumes. We're wearing masks, but we're still, you feel in your eyes.
Right. I do. It's like a burning sensation, and
Marla, I don't know
Yeah,
if
Olin, I've got a
Christine's still
question.
there with you. Do you have any other questions?
Yes, so she's talking about evacuations there. Were they given any instruction as to a place people can go? She talked about the heat and the elderly. Have we heard anything about evacuation centers or the Red Cross at all, or is it just too soon? We're just getting people out of their homes.
We haven't seen any Red Cross, but let me ask her, did your tenants, how many tenants, first of all, were displaced from your properties?
2.
2. And did they get any instructions on where they could go, where they could get some shelter?
I'm not aware. You would have to ask Patty.
We'll talk to Patty. We'll try to get her over here and get a first-hand account from her. Tell us a little bit about what you're going to try to do for your tenants. Hopefully, once obviously they're being displaced right now,
Right.
and hopefully they will be let back in once this fire is out. But what are you hoping to be able to do for your tenants?
First, on my part, I'm going to contact the company. This company, and I'm going to say, what are you going to do for the cleanup? And then as far as my tenants, I'm going to say, what can I do for them? If they can't afford it, I'm going to get a remediation company to get in there. If they clean the screens, whatever I need to do so that they can be in there healthy. I don't want any problems for them. And then I am going to go after the company.
It's very kind of you. Let's see if we can get Patty over here.
Patty?
Can you come over here a second?
No. I'll hold Helios.
While we're getting Patty set
Okay.
up, we can roll that video of the lineage fire from 2024. So this is a look at that. So this is not the first time it's happened. You see a more straight-on aerial shot of those solar panels that caught fire. This is August of 2024. I'm also just getting word from our crew that a couple of things, that firefighters who were positioned inside, they've been evacuated because of the water drops, and that this is still reportedly still a solar panel roof fire only. In other words, that flames have not engulfed the actual warehouse inside. So that is good news. Go ahead, Christine. And there's also LAFD on socials here just put out a call for a smoke advisory.
We are getting some information from the fire department holding a news conference, and our team is giving me this information here. I can just read some of the information. For one, an LAPD robot is being brought in to check inside the building. Apparently, the fire department saying dropping water on a fire like this is unique. From the helicopters there, we think of the wildland. Fires, and they talked about it being unique, but also said it's proving to be effective. And they said that all surrounding tanks have been cooled down. LAFD is leading a county hazmat team. LA County Fires there is on the scene. They're monitoring the water runoff, and they are monitoring the air quality.
That's all great information, and let's bring in, if we could, Mark Nouveau. He is a former battalion chief. And Mark, you were alluding to that very fact that it's very unusual for water drops to happen on a commercial building fire like this, but this one makes sense given the toxicity of the chemicals that are involved.
Yeah, it certainly does. Now, it sounds like, based on the update that you just provided, it may not be involved. The ammonia may not be leaking out of it. It sounds like that it's just the solar panels on top, based on the amount of smoke production and what we saw earlier in terms of flame production. That's good news. You would assume that the building, some contents of the building were also involved. But the fact that they're going to bring in a robot, they're going to pull people out because they don't want to expose them to what may or may not be in there. That's wonderful. They're monitoring the air. That's wonderful. They've got an evacuation designated area so people can get away from that. That's wonderful. I imagine the next probably warning will be make sure people avoid any of the dust or smoke or particles that have landed. Just try to avoid all that at this particular time. Keep your windows, your HVAC, your air conditioning system shut down, even though the fire's getting smaller. As long as that smoke is being produced and we don't quite know what's in that smoke, it's smart to just play it safe.
Yeah, Mark, let me give you some more information here. And to clarify, according to our team with a fire department news conference, it did reach an ammonia line. Now stand by, let me read some more information for you. The concern is on the fire on the roof is the solar panels and electrical concerns. They did shut down all valves. I'm not quite sure what that means, but that sounds like it's an update on information there. And they shut down the electricity. Apparently they're saying a few more water drops, I'm thinking helicopter there, then the ladders will come back up. They're still in a defensive mode, but the solar panels on a building this size apparently is dangerous for firefighters. Bear with me, more information here. There is concern of lithium batteries when they go inside. That's the information apparently from the fire department. So Mark, hearing more of that update, what does that tell you?
It sounds good news in that if it's only one line that they use that to supply the cold storage system, they've got the tanks cooled down. They had touched on that so they don't have a leaking of tanks, which we saw recently. That was one of the problems that we had, with the evacuation of 50,000 people, a month ago in the last building
Orange
fire
County,
down in that
right?
area.
Orange County?
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
Orange County, absolutely. And so that's all good news. It's moving in the right direction. They've got people out. They're going to stop the water drops from the helicopters, and they're going to put up, the aerial trucks, the big ladders in the back, and they'll put, a nozzle up on top of there and keep flowing water through that, which allows them to be able to direct where that water is going. And so that's good news. They can, to your point earlier, they can direct that water stream into areas where the fire is actually burning and get it in to penetrate the hot spots.
Mark, stay with us for a moment. We have another reporter who has arrived on scene. This is Fox 11's Christina Gonzalez. Christina, where are you in relation to the warehouse, and what are you being told?
We are, we are right on Indiana, and if I get out of the way, hold on, because we got units coming through. Right now they're trying to get through because LAPD is very much involved in this because they're trying to keep people in shelter. Let me get out of the way. But you can see the problem with this situation, and if you can show from the helicopter as well, you can go back and forth, is that the fire is on the roof. And it's on the roof on these, solar panels. But that's not the problem. You see that the black smoke is moving northeast. There is ammonia and a slew of other really toxic things inside what is in essence a cold storage facility. So for the first time, and I don't think I've been covering fires, you see those helicopters? I have never seen them use helicopters to drop water on top of a building like this, because usually the danger is that you would collapse the roof and endanger the firefighters. So, this is a perfect example of what we call IAO, improvise, adapt, and overcome, because they've got a situation that they need to truly contain. And they've got smoke that, according to the Weather Service, is blowing northeast. And I have a mask on because it does not smell very nicely out here. That is why the shelter-in-place order around this facility. If you are around this facility and you're listening to me, please close your windows, turn on your air conditioning. You do not want to be breathing in this stuff. This is not the kind of stuff you want inside the house. The same thing if you're driving near here. I could see the smoke pretty heavily near Olympic. As far as the 5 freeway, it depends on when the wind blows. But again, they're trying to hit it hard. It is a very tall building with no way to get really in. There's no windows that they can vent out. There's no way for the firefighters to get in without putting themselves in danger, especially now that you've got the helicopters dropping a lot of water on a roof that at this point has not collapsed, although there are some openings in it. And it's kind of a very, very difficult situation. You want the stuff to air out, they want to get water in it, but at the same time, that smoke is not good smoke to breathe in. So that is why the shelter in place. If you can come to our camera, though, what I am surprised is that there's some people out here who came to see what was going on. Some of them are wearing masks. A lot of them are not wearing masks, as a matter of fact. And I believe one of the ladies that, is in that group, and let me see if we can show her to you, they actually got their dog out of the apartment building that is right across the street. They actually got out of there because they were smelling really, really bad stuff. And she was telling me that it was scary. So they just got out. They came over here, which is about a block away. But even a block away here, you see people covering their noses with their shirts. You see, some of them anyway. Others are not, because this does not smell like you should be breathing it in. Let's go to our right, Olin, because you can see people arriving and they don't have masks, yet they're covering their noses. So if you are watching our coverage, please heed the instructions. shelter in place, close your windows, turn on the air conditioning, and not to when you're bringing in air from the outside, because this is not the kind of the ammonia, the kind of stuff that is inside a cold storage facility is highly toxic, and thus the concern. You can see that it is still plenty of black smoke, way too much black smoke, much more than they would like to see, which means that there's still active fire burning in there. Now, what they're telling us is that one of the ammonia lines actually was severed. And I'm looking for the helicopters that are coming in, because to see them do this, they're actually flying in through black smoke. That building's about, 100 feet. They're flying low. They're flying 110 when they do the drops, because they really want to target them. And they're flying into completely black smoke where the visibility is no more than 10 yards. So you gotta, hats off to them. And I repeat, I have covered
Look at that shot.
many years structure fires, and I have never seen them use the helicopters unless it's a brush fire. But a structure fire, no, they don't. And they don't do it because they don't want to collapse the floor, the roof, with that much water dropping all at once. But in this case, they absolutely have to. And that is why you're seeing they're trying to adapt and try to figure out a way to get this to stop putting out the kind of black smoke that is moving. If you are in the areas like Monterey Park, if you are, for Alhambra, these areas, I am hearing people are truly seeing it and smelling it. And close your windows. If you're in the freeway and you see the smoke coming at you, close your windows, turn on the air conditioning. Do not be breathing the stuff in. I can't emphasize it enough. This is really, here comes another helicopter. Look how low he's flying
so
right
low.
into it. It's amazing.
And the force of this, by the way, the weight of the 480 pounds, almost 500 gallons rather, of water that is dropped on each drop. It weighs about 4,000 pounds. The force of it.
Yes.
And they think, though.
Yeah,
that
and that is why
that's
why they have to be careful.
Right, but they also think that the roof is reinforced for those solar panels, so that is helping out in this case. That's why the building, the roof necessarily hasn't collapsed. We're getting some new information from LA City Fire Chief Jaime Moore.
Yeah, we're going to try to get a little closer here, see if we can actually give you a better shot, so bear with us over here. You were saying you were getting some new information.
Yeah, he was just speaking to the fact that this is a very unique situation because of the size of the building and the fact that those solar panels are involved. He says they had to shut down all power because of electrical concerns. And they are continuing, of course, the water drops. But yes, the air quality is obviously a significant issue for locals in the area, for the firefighters themselves. But nonetheless, they have put out those flames on the exterior, or rather the side of this warehouse itself. And now they're more focused on the center of the warehouse, the center portion of it, where those flames continue to burn. The ground shots look a lot better than they did even 20 minutes ago. We've been on the air with this. I jumped on the air about 3:30 this afternoon in the 3 o'clock hour. And so we've been on the air for almost 90 minutes with this. And earlier, that is that smaller picture, if I'm not is that still the live shot? I guess it is to. Okay, so we're going to be losing that shot for a moment.
We're still live from the ground. We're also kind of helping. Some of the crews get in and out, because LAPD is trying to enforce people that need to really listen to this whole thing. You've got a lot of people coming out here to look. This is not a good place. We got an ambulance, or we got a truck coming in. Let's see if we can get him to move out to our right. I will tell you, and I just got this. An officer just handed me this. He's saying, please remind people that the area that they're looking at, the area that is affected with the stay-at-home order, is especially south of the 101 freeway, roughly Washington Boulevard and east of Soto Street to Indiana. Residents are being advised, please remain indoors, close all windows and doors, and turn off your air conditioning and heating units, especially if they recycle air from the outside.
Christina?
The only people who were evacuated actively were the people across the street.
Christina, we need to interrupt as we approach the 5 o'clock hour.
Breaking news at 5, a massive fire erupts in Boyle Heights. Thick black smoke billowing in the air that can be seen for miles. People in the area are being told to shelter in place. It started inside a cold storage facility, and there's been an ammonia leak inside, making the situation even more volatile.
Now, this is the area impacted as we give you a live picture from Skyfox. You see the ladders up, and some of that black smoke continues to billow from this company known as Lineage, by the way. No stranger to such roof fires involving their solar panels. We'll tell you about more of that in a moment. But the firefight has improved drastically since we've been on the air with this since 3:30. But more to come. This area here, if you visit protect.genesis.com and type in your address, this pink area is the affected area that is in that shelter-in-place order. This area stretches south of the 101 freeway to roughly Washington Boulevard and east of Soto Street to Indiana Street on the west. If you are in the area, stay inside, close all windows and doors, and please turn off your air conditioner.
You're looking at a map right here of the fire area. People who don't know the Boyle Heights area, it is south of Dodger Stadium. It is near the downtown Los Angeles area. It is a community that is heavy with residential, but also commercial as well. It's near several freeways, the 10, the 5, the 101, the 60. So as we're watching this here, we're trying to find the area in which people are told to shelter in place. As we look at this live picture here, we are seeing people who are out and about in the area. A firefighter there helping someone. Our reporter, Christina Gonzalez, do you want to bring us up to speed here?
Yes, okay, so these are people who are just down the street from where this is happening. This woman, they're going to check her out because the smoke that we are seeing coming out of that building, and it looks a lot better. It was coming pretty heavily towards this area. And as we have said, the smoke that is what is inside this storage facility is ammonia. One of the lines was severed, actually. So it smells horrible. They are asking people to shelter in place. They did move some of the people who were across the street because this is highly, highly toxic. So please close your windows. Let me show you some of the people who were actually removed from the building over there. Señora, ¿ustedes estaban allá en el edificio?
No.
No. ¿Vinieron a ver aquí?
Mm-mm. No, we live here.
You live here. Okay. How are you guys? I mean, I'm glad you have the masks on, but how would you describe what we're smelling here, even a block away? Comes and goes.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It just smells bad.
It smells bad.
Yeah.
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 So, you know, some of these people live right up the street again. Some of the people. I don't see you guys wearing masks. You know, they're telling us you should because
we don't have any right now.
You don't have any masks?
We don't.
Okay, you notice that smell? You might want to move away a little further. I know you want to see everything, but be careful. This
Thank
is
you.
highly, highly
Thank you
toxic.
so much.
Thank you. Señora, ¿cómo está usted? ¿Está bien? Are you okay?
Sí, estoy bien.
¿Está bien?
Sí,
¿Dónde
estoy-
estaba usted? Where were you?
No, estoy muy bien.
Estaba en la casa. She was at home. Yeah, she was at home.
And what, they actually
Yeah,
got-
they told us we had to evacuate, so I had to take my mom out right away. But we didn't have any masks, so I just gave her the one I had.
You know, that's got to be really scary because
Yeah, it is.
describe to people what this smells like when it hits
Oh, it
them.
smells really bad. Like you can barely breathe. I mean, when I was at home, I thought it was something else was burning in my house. But then I look outside and I saw the smoke.
Now-
So I was like, oh, what's going on? So
Now, you've lived here for a while. Have you ever had any problems with that facility over there?
well, it happened that I think a couple of years ago. Another fire.
Really?
Yeah, but it wasn't this bad. It wasn't this bad.
This is-
But this one is really, really bad. But it happened 2 years. I think it was 2 years ago.
Thank you so much for talking to us. We're going to give you a picture again because, again, what we're seeing now are those helicopters that are coming in to do drops, something we never, ever, I have never seen it in 39 years of covering this kind of stuff here for Fox 11. I've never seen helicopters used on a structure fire, unless it's part of a brush fire, but a structure fire, and they don't because there's so much weight of the water coming down that there's a really big possible danger of collapsing that roof, which you don't want to do. But at this point, this is what they're trying to deal with because they want to stop that smoke from traveling as it is traveling right now northeast. There it is again in the lingo it's called IAO, improvise, adapt, and overcome. So they're bringing in the helicopters and they're putting them right in there. So and very close, but every time they hit them, you see the white smoke come in, and then you see some more black smoke come out of the facility. So at this point, this is definitely a defensive posture by LA City Fire. They're trying to get people from the immediate blocks out of their homes. Anybody in the area surrounding Indiana, anything like that, close your windows. You don't want to be breathing this in. If you are driving on the 5 freeway and every once in a while you get this smoke going towards it, again, close your windows. We do have several ambulances on both sides of this location, and they're checking out people who were evacuated, like the lady that we showed you. And you see them, well, you might not, we want to give her some privacy as they're doing that. But she was actually overcome a little bit by the fumes and just a little bit worried about it. But at this point, you know, just stay out of the area. This is going to be going on for a while. There's still a lot of black smoke coming out of that facility. And just, if they tell you to leave your building, your home, your apartment in this immediate area, do so. You do not want to be breathing this in. People in Alhambra, people in Monterey Park, people in the area northeast of this, you see the smoke coming at this, close your windows as well. Because they really, really, I mean, look how close he's flying to that roof, into that black smoke.
Really is an incredible picture. Christina, as
and
we look at this here,
you know,
you're right, we have not seen them do drops like this in the city on a commercial building. We think of the fires on the hillsides and the wildfires where they use this all the time. The chief of the LAFD did say about 6 years ago they did use water drops like that on a hillside, but in all of his 31 years with the fire department, yes, this we have not seen. But there's a reason they're doing this. Now also, that bigger picture there on your screen was from about an hour ago. You saw really how thick that smoke is there on the ground, or was at least an hour ago. And I can only imagine the smell, Christina, that you're describing. What exactly does it smell like to you?
It's acrid. It's how can I, well, it's acidy. We actually have some more emergency vehicles coming in right now because they're trying to bring in as many emergency response vehicles as possible, because you've got a lot of people around here and they need paramedics to check them out, because a lot of people are not wearing their masks. They didn't have any. You've heard from some of those people, and they really should. To describe it, to answer your question, it's an acid-like smell. It kind of brings a tear to your eye when it hits you. And I have double masks on right now, and I do have in my back pocket another mask that I can wear, and so forth. But again, this is not the kind of thing you want to be breathing in if you don't have to. So they're asking people get out of the way. Again, the wind is expected 5-10 miles per hour according to the Weather Service out of the southwest going to the northeast, Alhambra, Monterey Park. But here on Indiana, just off of Olympic and the freeway, it's every once in a while we get a whiff of it, and it is not pleasant. And we are in what's possibly the safest location that we can get close and give you a good picture without getting any further in there. But they mean it. They mean it. Do listen to them. It's it makes your eyes tear up, not your ears. Your eyes tear up, and just close your windows in this area. This is not fun right now. Every once in a while you'll see all the personnel out here put on their mask and then take it off when it calms down a little bit. But just keep in mind that, the man was telling us they've had fires in this facility before, but nothing this bad. And I will tell you, when you see the constant, they're hitting it with massive amounts of water, you get a little white smoke, and then you see that puff of black smoke again popping up. So whatever is burning in there is really burning. And if you look at the building, there are no windows. There's no other really safe access. So they are really caught in a difficult situation that they're trying to assess how they're going to best attack this situation. Now, you probably can see the smoke. When I was coming up from the south, I started seeing it at the 605 and the 5. And that's quite a few miles away when it started. It was a huge, huge black plume of smoke. This is definitely much better. They are making, they're getting as ahead of it as they can at the same time that it is a defensive position. Let me show you. I don't know if you see the firefighters
Christina, I'm going to jump in really quickly
Yeah,
here.
it's hard to hear you guys. Go ahead.
Okay, well, no, just for your own knowledge, because we've shown some video of it. Can you hear me okay? My mic sounds a little off. Is it just me? Am I okay? Okay. Okay. For your knowledge, Christina, we have reported and we have shown the video of it that the roof fire here at the same location at this warehouse in August of 2024. So we even have file footage of that. It wasn't as big as this, to that man's point. So he is correct there. You talk about how in your 39 years of reporting that you've never seen the water drops on a warehouse facility. We see those commonly during wildfire coverage, but not on a warehouse facility. And here's another water drop. It's going to happen, and it'll be live. And it's been going on. The water drops have been happening consistently. I believe there's 3 choppers up that are sharing the duties. Mark Nouveau is a former battalion chief. He's been on the air with us. Mark, can you just explain to our viewers who may be just joining our coverage now why those choppers are being called in for this warehouse firefight?
Yeah, very innovative, a tactical approach. It's wonderful to see them. You know, I think what's taking place is they're trying to avoid exposing personnel to undue dangers. And so what they've got are panels burning on the top. And it sounds like there's an ammonia line that might have been severed that's up there as well. And so they've made the choice to use defensive operation. They sent some people inside the building. That was their first inclination to go offensive. Then as they started to battle the fire, they realized, okay, most of the fire appears to be on the roof. So to get to that fire is to get people up on that roof and or use elevated streams, which is hose lines on the ladders, which they're talking about going to that next. And they were on that tactic originally. But then came up the idea by the incident commander, let's use water drops. We can put 500 gallons of water on these panels on this roof, less danger for the people that are there, get everybody off the roof, get everybody outside the building, and let's do some water drops and tamp down this fire, which is what they've done. And you'll see as they do a drop, you'll see, a steam production where you see gray smoke, and then it'll start to smolder again, and you'll see some more black smoke. But a very innovative way to try and attack this fire and keep people safe, both residents in the neighborhood as well as firefighting and first response personnel. Very innovative.
And we're happy to report that Helicopter Command is saying most of the active flame is knocked down, and they are going to make a couple more drops and then send some of those other choppers back. They do plan to keep one helicopter for a little while longer. So what do you make of that?
Good news. It sounds like they feel they've got enough resources there to handle what we call overhaul, meaning now we've got the immediate danger tamped down to the point where we can start to work on overhauling this fire, getting whatever's still smoldering up there, make sure we get that tamped down and out and not a problem. I'm sure they've already, and they're going to continue to test the structural integrity of that building. You know, you heard the PIO from the fire department talk about shutting down the utilities, so they shut down the gas and water, certainly to that building and probably to the surrounding block. So that's all good news. You see the smoke production is starting to diminish. It's going to smolder for quite a while, but they don't have that same level of production, and they feel comfortable enough at this point to send back, like you said, 2 of the helicopters, keep 1, to be able to shuttle water and let the firefighters go ahead and start doing some more handwork, meaning getting the hose lines up on the roof or the elevated streams.
So, Mark, I'm wondering about a fire that involves solar panels on a roof, and a lot of them. It's a large structure. As people are watching this who may live nearby or maybe just watching from far away, you wonder about a fire like this and what it means to the firefighters and how hard it is to put out a solar panel fire on the roof. And obviously you talked about the inside walls possibly collapsing inside. We don't know what's happening inside the building, but just that roof, what concerns you about that?
Yeah, the good news, it sounds like there wasn't much fire inside the building where we thought originally that was the case. It sounds like at this point that was not the case. The majority was on the outside. As technology starts to evolve, though, that becomes a challenge, right? I mean, from a societal standpoint, we're certainly benefiting from electricity, solar panels, home batteries, electric cars. All of those things are wonderful and are doing great things in terms of the environment. But we're still challenged with how we manage these types of products when they start to burn. We're seeing that with electric cars, solar panels, things of that nature. We've got high voltage in these systems. You look at a Tesla car, for instance. One car has the same electrical reserve capacity as 4 or 5 power walls you would see at somebody's home. So you say, I want to have electricity in my house, and I'm going to order, some solar panels and some batteries. Well, you need 4 or 5 batteries to do that. One car has that same capability. So there's some danger associated with it when things start to go awry. Great benefits, but we still haven't totally figured out how to manage these in an emergency situation.
And water is all you need for something like that? You made me think like modern technology. You're right, all the electronics. They did also talk about a concern about lithium batteries.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that becomes a challenge. We saw that, and we've seen it not too long ago in the San Francisco Bay Area. We saw a Tesla on Highway 280 that had been involved in an accident, and it shut down that entire freeway for probably 3 or 4 hours, and it was one vehicle on fire. And it's the batteries and figuring out how to extinguish it. Water works to some degree, but it is not the key. It doesn't always extinguish the fire. We know those batteries tend to reserve heat, and so they can reignite. So the challenge becomes making sure you cool down whatever's adjacent, so once you extinguish the fire, it doesn't crop back up. So although water's helpful, it's not the key so far.
Mark, stick with us. You've been a great help for our coverage here as we cover this massive Boyle Heights fire. The firefight definitely yes, it's underway, but it has been improved significantly since we've been on the air with it since almost 2 hours now. And it erupted almost 3 hours at 2:35 this afternoon. Let's bring in Matthew Seedorf. He has arrived, one of our reporters on the ground. Matthew, take it away. Where are you, and what are you seeing and smelling?
Yeah, we're right off of Olympic near Prado, and it definitely have noticed that conditions are improving, like you've said, especially within the last 15 minutes or so. We've been watching these helicopters, and maybe Joe will show you here. The helicopters just circling this thing like crazy, really on the attack, and making those airdrops, and pretty noticeable in how effective they are. The smoke, as Christina's been saying, changing from that thick black color to more of like a off-white gray. We're about to see another drop here, and just how unusual it is to see these drops on buildings, especially this close to downtown LA. But much of Olympic is blocked off from law enforcement, and residents had to leave here in a hurry. I don't know if we're going to be able to see this drop or not. Yeah, here it comes here. But yeah, a very intense situation for so many people out here, and just look at that. I mean, that helicopter very close to the top of that roof, making that perfect drop, and then flying off to make the next one come right in behind it. So they really got a team effort in putting out these flames. Joining us live right now is James. He actually lives just a couple of doors down from where this fire is taking place. James, explain to us what happened this afternoon from your perspective.
Well, I was in my house, and LAPD from Hallenbeck came knocking on my door, and they told me to move out of the house, to get out of the house, because there was a big fire and it was hazardous for us to breathe. They told us to move over here to Olympic. They evacuated 2 blocks, and then the same police officer came back and told me to go further because it might explode. But it was a big fire.
Yeah, very intense. And what kind of emotions have you felt just being this close and watching it, knowing that your home is right there?
Well, I'm pretty sure that the police officer and the fire department from the city of LA, they know what they're doing, but it was very, very dangerous.
Any concerns? I know the air quality, a lot of people are wondering. They're saying that it's safe for the most part unless you have some sort of conditions.
Right, but they were giving us a face mask to us to breathe it on, and now it looks like they got a good hand over it, but I've never seen helicopters dropping water in the city of LA.
I think my final thing, but for people at home that maybe didn't see the fire, but they saw the smoke and they live, 20 miles from here, they could see it in the air. But what was it like up close when it was really cooking?
Well, the flames were real high, and it was out of control for a little while. There was a lot of sirens, a lot of fire department moving around, so it was scary.
Well, we're glad you're safe, James. Thank you so much for the time.
Thank you.
And hopefully we can get you home here soon. But Joe, if you want to show, there are some more people out here. I'm assuming that they're also neighbors. It looks like someone brought their pet parrot out here. Got to imagine a lot of families left in a hurry and are now watching this situation very closely. But as James was saying, very scary, very intense, and they're also very thankful for the work that the firefighters are doing and getting an upper hand on this thing. I'll go ahead and send it back to you.
To add to that about what your guest said there about this being very unusual to see these helicopters, you are so right, so much so that the chief of the LAFD has said in his 31 years on the job, this is only the second time he can remember aerial water drops being used to douse a structure fire, last time about 6 years ago in Echo Park. I'd like you to paint a picture, Matthew, of where you're at for those that might be watching from another area who don't know Boyle Heights well. I think of it being south of Dodger Park and near the 101 freeway. A lot of freeways in that area, though, but go ahead and paint that picture, and of the community, too. Are you in a residential area or more of a business area? We do see that mini mart behind you.
Yeah, lots of freeways in the area, as you're talking about, and maybe kind of Joe will show you around. This is down Olympic, looking towards the west. You can see it's closed off. You got police down there blocking traffic, some businesses, some shops, pretty industrial area as well. And then in between, there's also homes. So obviously, this is where the fire is taking place. It's blocked off. You can see a neighborhood and some lots of cars, the people that evacuated in a hurry down that direction. And then to the left, there's more shops, more road closures, and just all this happening. You think about the evening rush hour traffic. But again, one more time, just the impressive work by the firefighters making those drops, because it really is making a difference, helping. They were basically just left putting the flames out from the side of the building using the ladders. So to be able to make those drops and put the water right on top of the flames and keep it from spreading, very impressive to see.
And to see that street there with zero traffic is not what you normally see during rush hour here in Los Angeles. And for those who do know our LAPD different divisions here, this is in the Hollenbeck division. And the LAPD, though, is on a citywide tactical alert in response to this, just to allow officers to be on hand, to work beyond their normal shifts to address this public safety concern. Marla?
Matthew, in your travels to get to this breaking news situation, what did that look like?
Yeah, I mean, there was lots of traffic, obviously. It took me about an hour, maybe a little bit more, but on the 710 going northbound, you could just see this big cloud. It almost didn't even look like smoke. It just looked like a big cloud hanging over the city of LA. Even Joe Prince, who we were meeting up here for this report, he was saying the same thing coming from the north, so I was coming from the south. So, I mean, this is citywide. I think everyone that's driving home this evening, this afternoon, even looking out the windows at the park on a walk, has been able to see this smoke and wondering what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, I hopped on the stream at 3:30, and those images from Skyfox, to your point, it literally looked like a bomb had gone off, and it just was that cloud that was a very long, far and wide cloud that was hanging over a greater portion of the city of LA. I mean, 4 million people, and I'm sure everyone, no matter where you were, if you couldn't see it, you could smell it. It was quite the sight. So comparing then versus now, your thoughts?
Yeah, a massive difference. And one thing I thought was interesting driving over here, because the wind is blowing towards the east, it appears, but the smoke was blowing towards the east, but then it was kind of mushrooming, I guess you could say, at the top and kind of spreading out all over. So it just the reach of that smoke was very impressive to see. And then you look at it how it is now as they're about to make another drop. You can just tell how much offense they're playing on this, using the helicopters to their advantage. Look at that.
Beautiful.
Another perfect drop right there. 10 out of 10 by these firefighters from the air. But it's really the amount of... Here we go. The amount of I guess you could say, water that they've been able to put on and really get the upper hand. Really impressive to see, and so fast, really ever since those helicopters started dumping water on it.
You talked about the reach beyond the Boyle Heights area, and we got this word from the county supervisor, Hilda Solis, talking about the county areas and mentioning unincorporated East Los Angeles, Commerce, Montebello, and Monterey Park, telling those people at the worst of it to go indoors, close their windows, close their doors, turn off air conditioning and heating systems. And when we saw this at the worst of the worst, Matthew, we really had a lot of concerns about this fire and how big it could be in that big structure and how long this night or days could be. You were out at the Orange County fire concerns there, where we had concerns about a possible leak in that neighborhood. People were evacuated. So I'm sure you were on heightened alert when you went out there for this one.
Yeah, it's almost, that happened about a month ago, right? So I had the thought while we were driving over here, it just feels like these issues, this is similar but different, kind of keep happening. And then there was the other warehouse fire in Ontario also, I want to say a couple months back, and that one got out of control as well. So this one obviously very different than what happened in Garden Grove, but in the same way, the massive impact that it's having to thousands of people nearby.
Well, as we are watching a live shot in the corner of your screen, we are getting a little bit of an example of the work that's being done from that shot. But I do love your perspective watching those helicopters come by. You've covered many a wildfire. We're thinking Palisades as well. When you see those helicopters come in, just give me your perspective of what it feels like to hear them come in and see them make those drops so closely.
Well, I'm kind of an aviation geek myself, so I kind of geek out over it. It's really cool to watch. I feel like every time you see a drop, everyone nearby can't help but pull out their phones and start recording. It's really amazing to see them so low, and then they come in with such precision and then just veer off right away. And then almost, every time it seems like they hit the flames right on the head, and it just immediately has such an impact. But being able to see it up close and what it's been able to do to this fire is remarkable. And I think the pilots, in this instance, it's almost, you could say, easier than a major wildfire like the Palisades, where you've got hills and mountains to deal with, and this is a pretty flat area, and there's not really any tall buildings or anything nearby that I can see. So in some ways, I feel like, the helicopter pilots must think that this is much easier than what they're typically dropping water on.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if you heard earlier, but we were told that from Helicopter Command that they have doused all active flames and that they were going to send basically the choppers home, except keep one chopper up that would just be returning and monitoring the situation. So it looks like those ladders are back up in the air and shooting water on it, and they may have just been there the whole time, but I couldn't get a sense of that because it kind of got lost in the smoke and also the aerial attack. So amazing work in the last 3 hours from LAFD. We're going to keep a watch. And Matthew, are there folks who are nearby your camera right now? Anyone to speak to?
Yeah, sure. I mean, we can. Excuse me. We're live on Fox 11. Can we speak with you real quick?
No, I'm delivering.
Oh, you're delivering. All right. So that's someone trying to deliver something here. Would anyone want to speak with us real quick? No. See people evacuated pretty quickly. Looks like they're wearing their mask. And then we've got members of law enforcement over here. The street is blocked. Excuse me, can we speak with you real quick?
Yes, of course.
We're live on Fox 11, but what's this experience been like for you?
It's just insane to see the community just be like, literally everybody was out here. It was crazy. Everybody was like trying to see what was happening, but this is not the first time that this building has gone up in flames, which you would think that they would have preventative measures at this point, but there are not. And it's just a result, like I was saying before, it's just a direct result of having commercial buildings in residential areas. To me, it's unfair. There's chemicals in the air that we still don't even know about, which is why we're wearing masks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're glad you're safe. Thank you so much. I'll go ahead and send it back to you guys in the studio.
Let's talk about the fire that we know of in the past, it was a fire that was on the solar panels and much, much smaller, and not necessarily the building in flames, but some solar panels. Marla, go ahead.
Yeah, so we're just resetting as we approach officially 5:30, the bottom of the hour here. This is Sky Fox Live over this massive fire at a cold storage facility in Boyle Heights. The company is known as Lineage. The signage is easily seen, very visible. An immediate order is in effect near that Lineage facility on South Los Palos Street as heavy toxic smoke blankets the area. That is an order to shelter in place. Neighbors must stay indoors with windows closed. People have been actually physically evacuated as well. Drivers on the 710 freeway are urged to shut their vents to block out the fumes. Also, the 60 freeway as well. And here, by the way, here's that ladder shot. And I've just been informed that we were referring to those aerial drops, Christine, that 480 gallons are dropped per water drop. They have pretty much doused all of those active flames. So we have the ladder pipes now doing the work.
That's an incredible picture.
1,000 gallons per minute per ladder pipe.
I mean, you look at that picture there, and we don't see active flames in this shot here. And Marla, when you first jumped on the air, that entire portion there seemed to be on fire with really thick black smoke. It looked like the worst of the worst conditions. It's amazing to see this progress here made by those helicopters that did those drops where fire hoses couldn't maybe reach all of it. Now you see them making progress here with this work. But what a difference in what could have been.
Oh, absolutely. Incredible work. It is very rare for them to put those helicopters over a structure fire. We see that very frequently. It's a #1 resource in a wildfire fight, but this is very, very unusual. LAFD Chief Jaime Moore saying that in all of his years, and he's been around for decades, this is just the second time that they have done that. The last time was an Echo Park fire 6 years ago. All right, let's get to the ground again. Matthew Seedorf live on the scene. You were just speaking to a woman who's pretty upset about it, given the fact that Lineage did have a similar fire, similar in that it was contained to the solar panels. That was in August of 2024, so that was almost 2 years ago, Matthew. It was not nearly as big as today. There was not an aerial assault required for that one, but nonetheless, she makes a point. This has happened before, and then also researching this myself, you do see that they have a property up in the state of Washington, and there was a similar firefight at that facility. That was also in 2024, and that firefight lasted weeks.
Wow. I mean, fortunately, I think we can say that it's a good thing that we're attacking this from the air. We've been seeing how effective these drops are. Danielle, we're back live on Fox 11, if you don't mind, but you were comparing it to the fire in 2024. What's it like today in comparison as far as you know?
No, it was like the same building. Yeah. Was it in 2024? I'm like, I don't really know exactly. I just remember there being a fire. It was something about the motor not like being able to like, I guess like cool itself down. This time it was the solar panels, and I guess like there's like a bunch of chemicals coming out from it now. We couldn't really smell it over here, but when I was on that side of town, you could smell like this. It almost like a smell of like plastic burning. Obviously, a chemical reaction. So we were just kind of like waiting to see any answers, but we still don't really know what's happening.
So what was the evacuation process like for you as we see these helicopters keep flying and making these drops? What was the process like for you in evacuating?
Yeah, well, first of all, God bless all of the men and women who are helping, trying to calm the fire down, which I guess it's kind of working. Yeah, well, it erupted first, and then it kind of calmed down. You can see like the white smoke in the air, and then again it was with the black smoke, and then we saw like the fire just kind of like just spread. And then they asked us to bring our dogs inside, which is why I came home to make sure that my grandparents and my dogs are inside safe. Yeah. We weren't sure if we had to evacuate completely or if we just had to like stay inside. It was kind of like all over the place. Yeah.
But obviously everyone thinks back to the fires of last January. There's this fear of something like this, especially so big, could spread. I mean, what was going through your mind?
Yeah, of course. We actually had some neighbors in the area who were watering their the roofs, the roofs of their homes. At this point, I think what went through our minds was just like the safety, like being safe. So I had to convince my grandparents to like evacuate. They're older Mexicans. Like they really just did not. They've been living here for as long as I was born, even longer than that. So yeah.
Obviously, it looks like firefighters have gotten a handle on this thing, but moving forward as we look into tonight, any concerns? Are you or your grandparents, are they planning to come back home if they open up the street?
Yeah, I think that we're just trying to be cautious. I would prefer us to all just kind of like move away from the area just in case. They did have like a handle on it before and then it kind of erupted again. So obviously a little bit of concern with that.
And just the air?
Yeah, and just the air in general, because we still don't know like what kind of chemicals are in the air, especially like where the wind took all that. So yeah.
All right, well, thank you so much.
Yeah, of course.
We're glad you're safe. Hopefully you and your family get home soon and are safe as well.
Thank you.
But Joe, one more time, just looking at this facility, in a comparison to what we were seeing maybe even less than an hour ago, where you were still seeing that thick black smoke. Right now, it almost looks like we're barely seeing smoke at all, just kind of a little bit of a gray smoke. So what a difference time can make, and what a difference those helicopter drops can make. Go ahead, send it back to you.
That's the same picture. I mean, you look at that picture there and think there was no activity at all, no fire at all, but obviously you see that yellow tape right there keeping residents out.
Matthew, and you should note as we wrap up your report here that they are shutting down all those ladder pipes, and hazmat and urban search and rescue team is going in to assess the building. So it looks like they're not too concerned about flames reigniting. Obviously they do have crews on scene, don't get me wrong, but there will be a hazmat and urban search and rescue team heading into the building to assess it. So we look forward to getting some more information there.
Adding to that, the fire department did have a news conference that put out some word about this. We talked about the ammonia, which was a big concern as we thought about this. That fire did reach an ammonia line, but they were able to handle that issue. They said the ammonia is not toxic unless respiratory issues or direct contact with it. They were going to send in a robot, but now, Marley, you're saying actual people feel safe enough to go inside the building. That's a welcome update.
Yeah, a really good news update there. So let's go to our Christina Gonzalez. She is live, and you're right there at the tape. And what's new with you?
Well, let me tell you what's going on, because I just spoke to the officers and you can see LAPD. What's happening now is that they're actually taking a second set of readings, and the readings are of air quality. They are beginning to tell people in our area that they might be able, if this second set of readings continues being as good as it is, because they seem to be improving, they might be able to let some of these people back in the next hour, which would be a good thing. As a matter of fact, you were hearing, you own
CNS reporting forward progress.
two of the buildings.
Yes, one commercial and then residential.
Oh my God! And how many people have been evacuated?
There's one that came from left work, so there's 6, and then the commercial building.
You know, and I know that they're hearing you back there. You said this has happened before, right here?
Yes, before 2 years ago.
It was not as bad as this.
It was not as bad as this.
But as a property owner, did you know what they were doing in there and the dangers?
I knew it was just a cold storage. It was built not too long ago, but I had no idea it had a solar roof. So, and I didn't know the dangers of it at all.
Does that make you more concerned now? Because this is a whole new level of concern with what's going on around us.
Yes, it does. It angers me actually, because all that soot and all that chemical is spreading through the neighborhood. So, you know, the people that just evacuated in a hurry, I'm sure they left their windows open, so that went into their homes. You know, and like I was telling the gentleman, who's going to clean that up? You know? That's
a good question, Wanda's gonna, but you know, thank you so much for talking to us. I know, and she's dealing with some of the people who were evacuated. Now over here, let me show you what's happening. You see the ambulance over here. We're trying to do this while being conscious and sentient of people not wanting to be on camera while they're being treated. There are people, some of the people who are here in the corner, who are feeling every time the smoke gets black and it comes at us as much better as it is now. When it hits you, it really is like you're getting hit by a wall of acid. So they've been checking out some of the older people. The older lady you saw earlier when we were live, she's in the back of the truck. She told me that she's doing better. They're giving them oxygen. They're making sure that they're okay. But again, the update here, and I'm waiting for this police officer to come back who was talking to us. He's going to go find out what the latest readings are. And he said if they are, as you know, if they get this thing under control, they would love to allow some of these people back to some of these homes and some of these buildings in the next hour, as long as they can close their windows, shelter in place. But now you hear the concern that people left with their windows open, and now they have a lot of soot inside their homes. And who's going to clean that up? And can they return? So all these questions now emerging, and they're going to be serious questions that we'll try to get answers to. You know, back to you guys in the studio.
Just for complete clarity, as we have our live look from Skyfox here, and you know what, Christina, we're going to wrap it up there because we have Ed Lascos on the ground with Fire Chief Jaime Moore himself. Ed, take it away.
Actually, we have Brandon Silverman here. Captain, sir, tell us what's the latest here as we've been all trying to follow this and figure out what the heck's going on.
So we've been on scene since we were dispatched around 2:35 this afternoon, and obviously it's a very large commercial building. We initially did an offensive attack on the fire that appears to be contained to just the roof area, solar panels. However, partway through the fire attack, about 15 minutes in, they discovered an ammonia leak from some of the plumbing that runs along the roof. So they went into defensive operations, and they are now currently coming up with a plan to use urban search and rescue teams and our hazmat teams to go inside to assess whether there are any hazards within the building at this time. So,
because one of those hazards would be that roof that possibly could be compromised and come crashing down.
Correct. Yeah, they're going to be monitoring the air, looking for any signs of a leak. They're also going to look to see if the fire did extend into the building. At this time, we don't believe it did, but we'll also be looking for structural compromise.
And you're right, you made a good point. The chief earlier was telling us about that, the off-gassing of ammonia, and that was a very big concern.
Correct, yeah. Unfortunately, they were able to mitigate that hazard very quickly by shutting off valves at the supply. There were some other storage tanks that they were making sure that they were protecting by cooling tanks, but most of the fire was up on the roof area, so we didn't have to necessarily worry about the fire impinging on those tanks. But of course, they're monitoring it. Fortunately, the hazmat crews did do testing, air sampling, sampling of the water runoff, and they didn't find anything other than normal combustibles, which we don't want to breathe anyway, but there were no indications of any other toxic chemicals in that smoke.
And that's a very good point, because we still have that shelter in place with some of the neighborhoods right next to this area, because they've had this smoke, and a couple of hours ago it was really nasty through here.
Of course, yeah, and we did advise people that in the immediate area, of course, to evacuate. LAPD helped us with those evacuations on these local streets, and we did put out a WIA alert, a wireless emergency alert, asking for shelter in place for the zone immediately surrounding this building, in addition to advisories to the other zones just north of this area and into the east in LA County's jurisdiction. But anybody with any kind of sensitivities to smoke, we definitely advise to keep your windows and doors shut until we can lift those orders.
Because the chief was saying earlier, everybody was saying ammonia, they're frightened of that, but we understand it is not dangerous unless you have a respiratory problem.
Well, you don't want any kind of ammonia exposure, but since the air sampling and the water sampling that we didn't find it in the smoke, we feel safe to say that it is normal smoke at this time, except people with sensitivities don't want to breathe any smoke at all, of course, and we don't advise it for anyone. However, once we are able to deem that the entire interior of the building is safe, then we're looking to lift that shelter-in-place order and also get the residents back to this local area into their businesses and homes.
I know a lot of folks have been asking about that, but I can't let you go without talking about something that was dramatic for all of us. I'm an old dog. I've been doing this a long time. You're not a spring chicken yourself, but water drops. This isn't a brush fire, but it was a tremendous attack by you guys.
Right, yeah. The intent of that, of course, was to get that fire knocked down as quickly as possible so we didn't have any kind of embers spreading to the surrounding brush and eventually into other buildings in the area. So that is just one of the tools at our disposal, and the incident commander made a great decision to call those helicopters in and start utilizing them.
Because it really did. It made it. We were watching with our choppers as well. It made a big difference. All that 1,000 gallons at a time dropping down really shut down those flames.
Definitely. And of course, we would never do that if we had any indication of our firefighters or anybody else being inside of the building because of the weight of that water. But using those exterior ladder pipes as well, we put a lot of water onto that roof. So we have to be careful how much water we put on, but we definitely want to get that fire knocked down. And that's why they'll be going inside, though, to assess the situation inside the building as well.
I was going to say that the last thought is, right, the next step is to go inside to assess what's happening. I imagine you might be using some of the robots to go in there first.
Correct, yeah. We have deployed our drones initially with our urban search and rescue teams and hazmat teams, and we also have the robot that's going to come out and be able to pull lines, firefighting lines into the building, as well as our robot dog, I believe, is on its way.
And the last thought is, again, for everybody listening, watching, is shelter in place is still in effect.
Yeah, we have it in effect still, because any of that smoke that's lingering over in the area to the north and northeast, we would want people to avoid inhaling that smoke, regardless of what's in it. So we do advise people to keep their windows and doors shut. If they have a circulating system that's closed, they can keep their air conditioning on, but if the air conditioning system pulls air from the exterior, we would ask them turn off your AC system so you don't pull in any of that toxic air.
You know, I was just thinking, when this thing was cooking, not to be funny, a couple of hours ago, we had the dark smoke right here where we're standing, just a block away. A lot of folks were very concerned. We have a couple of hospitals here, as the chief was saying, the fire chief earlier. So in the initial stages here, this was a very dynamic situation.
Definitely, yeah. Until we could start doing that active air monitoring and water runoff monitoring, we had to assume the worst and prepare for that. So we definitely made sure that we got those shelter-in-place orders out as quickly as possible. And before those orders even go out, because it does take some time to do that, we have our crews on scene alongside LAPD going door to door and evacuating people from the immediate area.
Okay, Captain, good job. Thank you, sir, as always. Great job. LA City Fire, that's the latest here. We'll send it back to West LA.
Ed Lascos, thank you so much. And here's another live look from Skyfox, and no active flames. That is a welcome sight, of course. Some of that smoke continues to billow, but that firefight was a nasty one, and it could have lasted well into the night if it weren't for those for the helicopters that really helped bring this to an end. It's not over yet, obviously, but the worst of it has come and gone. It started at 2:35.
Some really welcome news there from that fire captain. And look at the freeway traffic behind you, moving and flowing as normal. One thing that really stands out, as he said, there was normal combustibles, which you don't want to breathe in that air, but nothing toxic. Welcome news for those residents. Nothing toxic beyond the normal, what you experience with a big fire like this. Also, they say it was contained to just the roof. By the looks of that fire, with all the flames earlier on, you would not have thought that it was contained to just the roof. All right, Marla Tejas, we thank you for your continued coverage of this, starting us out early in the afternoon. We're going to let you go and continue on with our evening newscast.
All right, very good. I know you're going to be checking that forecast now. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We're going to go now to Star Harvey for a look at the weather here.
Fox 11 Weather is sponsored by Yamava Resort and Casino.
Well, we'll get to those conditions surrounding our weather in the Boyle Heights area. But beside me here, a quick check on what's happening here across the West Coast. We do have some clouds in place, dry conditions out there, and temperatures